You're tuned to The Drive on your 24/7 home of the black and gold. Steelers Nation Radio.
Good afternoon, Steelers Nation, and welcome to The Drive on the Steelers Audio Network. Wes Uhler and Matt Williamson with you here on a Friday as we are charged up for this big game against the Chargers on Sunday Night Football. Matt, how we doing, partner?
Better before that joke. It wasn't so great. Charged up. Come on, man.
What else? I mean, I could have made a couple other goofy
I don't mean to knock you down a peg right off the bat.
You're right, though. That was pretty corny.
Wasn't so great.
That was pretty corny. I'm sorry. We'll get better as we go along.
You're
here.
charged up for Billy Strings tonight.
I'm charged up for Billy Strings tonight. Yes,
nice.
For
You
those.
got a big weekend going.
For those that are familiar, Billy Strings, one of the best young guitar players in the game. He's at PPG Paints Arena tonight, so I'm doing that with my wife and some friends before a early morning flight to the City of Angels tomorrow morning.
Eventful weekend for you.
We've got one of those Steeler pep rally shows tomorrow with myself, Rob King, Missi Matthews, and then, of course, Sunday Night Football. A red-eye home Sunday night, then we'll be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and ready to do the thing on Monday. So it's going to be a long couple days, but hopefully a fun couple days. And, of course, the nice part of this, Matt, just to peel back the curtain a little bit, is we all do this. When the schedule comes out every year, we look and we book our fall and what our weekend's going to look like, what are the holidays going to look like, all that stuff. That was the good news of this year's Steelers schedule, is that nothing really on Thanksgiving or Christmas.
I always look for Christmas
because
I get arrows from the wife on that. Yeah.
Absolutely. You can imagine that too. For me, last year was like the first year that my daughters were excited for Christmas, and Dad's gone for 13, 14 hours.
It's a road game. Right?
That was so glad to be avoiding the holidays this year. When the schedule came out, one of the first things I noticed was like most of our hefty travel is done before Thanksgiving.
Oh, yeah. You've mentioned that before, yeah.
Like the Dublin trip, and cross-country to L.A. Like, after
the
this...
tough trips, yeah.
After this, the travel is pretty manageable. It's like all the division teams. It's Detroit. It's Chicago. Easy up and down
Not getting home
flights.
In crazy hours.
Correct.
Yeah.
And last year, it was tough down the stretch because we had a lot of those crazy games down the stretch. And, you get to December and, like, the grind of the season. You're a little worn out, and... So fortunately, in this regard, it does end up well that, it'll be a long couple days here, but after this, the travel gets much lighter down the back half of the season, which works out well.
Yep.
I'll take it that way, certainly. But it will be Steelers, Chargers, Sunday Night Football in prime time there at SoFi Stadium. Missi Matthews is going to join us here in about 15 minutes or so.
Okay.
To lend her view from the sideline. We'll get into 5-Star Friday. We'll go all around the league, all of that stuff. But, Matt, a typical kind of Friday scene setter just to get us started as we dip our toe into Steelers and Chargers here. And I feel like a lot of this conversation centers around the Steelers defense and Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
Is that fair? I mean, is that the kind of the biggest thing for this matchup Sunday night?
For me, it is. And I'll be honest, I feel like I have a little bit of a blind spot on the other side of the ball, that I just don't have a great feel for the Chargers defense as a whole, or how the Steelers are going to go about attacking them. I know I want to spend more time on the other side, but I do think that it'll be a somewhat controlled run the ball, try to win time of possession, Steeler approach, Rodgers picking spots he likes. But that's kind of always the approach. I mean, I think the run percentage should go up than it has in recent weeks,
totally.
For sure. I don't see crazy defensive players that you have to avoid. The Micah Parsons conversations, the Myles Garrett conversations. Derwin's a real interesting movable chess piece, but, he's a safety. But the other side of the ball to me is super intriguing in that I can't stop thinking about what a disadvantage their O-line is at. And I feel bad for them almost in a way. I mean, other weeks, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
because the rest of the offense is pretty in good shape other than running back.
Absolutely. If they were just kind of – if they had one devastating injury to that offensive line, it happens. It's the National Football League.
Yeah.
But they've had multiple, and you're right.
I don't know who's going to play where, and I'm sure they do, but they're piecing together – is Becton going to play? I mean, what are you going to do with the new guy, Penning? I mean, they don't have any tackles.
They don't. They're out their top 3 tackles from the start of the season, which is just insane.
Insane.
I mean, imagine if the Steelers were in that situation, and what we'd be saying, it's a heck of a road to navigate for them.
Yeah, I mean, you're starting Dylan Cook and somebody like that.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, that's why they're on the roster, but still, it's hard to win that way.
Absolutely, maybe picking guys off of other practice squads and things like that. It's tough to win that way, especially against a defense like this Steelers one. They do have, outside of that offensive line, it's a talented offense. They're
I love their pass catchers.
They're banged up at running back, but they've got some talented wide receivers. They've got one of the better young tight ends in football. And so that's why, to me, it feels like, and this has been the case for them all season, but it's really in Herbert's hands.
A lot. Now, one thing we haven't talked about a lot, but we've thrown it out there, is Matlock and Fisk.
Okay.
I mean, people are like, who are those two dudes? Well, those are like the Patrick Ricard guys for them. Yes. I mean, they're like defensive linemen by trade that are now just hammerhead, beat-your-face, blocker types. And if I were them, I think I would try to get heavy with my personnel. Like, I don't think I want to put Herbert in the gun and have all those weapons out there and just trust my line.
Totally.
I mean, I don't think they're going to be able to throw the ball downfield much. I threw this out on Twitter. It's in Matt's stats that the Steelers, I think you even brought it up yesterday, Steelers face like the lowest percentage of downfield passing basically in the league, and that's a recurring theme. So I'm sure the Chargers' approach is let's get big and physical, let's run the football, let's get the ball out of Herbert's hands quickly. Can Keenan Allen get me a quick slant here? Boom. Gadsden, a quick hitter, the Flacco stuff. And then Justin, we need you to make 7 or 8 big plays, deep outs, tough throws, extend a play, use your feet, which is a dangerous aspect. And I get that, I think that's a logical approach. Playing against the Matlocks and those type of dudes isn't easy. Darnell Washington.
Sure.
They're rare players to play against, but they also don't put points on the board or, you're taking a skill guy off the field to get those guys out there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. And it seems like a game that the way the Steelers like to win the last few years, 20-17, 17-10.
Yeah.
Seems like that's the type of game that the Chargers would want to play this weekend.
Which Harbaugh will embrace, without question.
Absolutely.
But what I bet's making him crazy is the thing we were talking about yesterday, too, is in those games, the Steelers have been so good over the years, and it's been a Tomlin thing of winning in the margins, penalties, turnover differential, special teams, those type of things. And other than just like time of possession as a whole, all those type of aspects all favor the Steelers.
Yes.
Time of possession is the one that the Steelers are really at a disadvantage at. So that's why.
But might that start to change for LA this week?
Yeah. Can LA have 35 minutes of
with a ragtag offensive line?
I don't know. All right. I mean, that's why I think they're going to run the ball, but the ball carriers aren't great, Yeah.
It's a very interesting conundrum, I think, for the Chargers as they get ready for this one. They are, you send myself and your co-host on the pregame show, Tom Opferman, our buddy Tommy Radio, kind of this breakdown that you do every single week. Chargers offense number 1 in the NFL rushing versus a light box.
Okay.
That to me is, I wonder if there's a thought in their mind that like, okay, maybe we don't want to go as heavy because we've had more success
spreading them out,
and get them into nickel and then we can mash. They're also one of the best teams at rushing outside of the tackles, but I wonder how much of that has been with Joe Ald and them, kind of
better tackle play
that they're not going to have on Sunday.
Now the Matlocks and Fisks of the world will also be edge dudes.
That's a great point.
But it's really hard to run TJ's way. We know that. I mean, teams run to the offense's left a heavy percentage of the time. Actually, a number I heard on the way here, I was just listening to a general podcast. They said if you eliminate blitz and you just look at like pressure rate allowed, not only the Chargers last, but they're like 10% worse than everybody else.
Interesting.
And that's with Alt half the season. You know what I mean? Like it's only getting worse, So I know that's not what we were just talking about now, but I would be very hesitant if I'm the Steelers to get back to my blitz heavy ways. I mean, it worked so well not blitzing much against the Colts. You're getting torched and leaving slower secondary guys in tough situations against Green Bay, against the
Cincinnati.
Bengals. Right, right. I mean, I think you try to keep maybe you bring in a heavier box and keep people close to the line of scrimmage, but you don't blitz a lot,
That would make sense.
Yeah.
That would make sense. And, of course, Matt, it's another matchup between two household names at the quarterback position, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Aaron Rodgers and Justin Herbert. Each has a chance to potentially make some history on Sunday Night Football. I don't know if you saw this, but Labs sent us this.
Then I did.
So let's go with Justin Herbert here first.
Yeah. He has some milestones.
He's got some potential milestones, some potential big names that he's hunting down here. With 2 or more touchdown passes on Sunday Night Football, Herbert can surpass Peyton Manning for the 4th most games with at least 2 touchdown passes by a player in their first 6 seasons in league history.
Yeah.
Okay, so multiple touchdown games in their first 6 years. Patrick Mahomes and Dan Marino are tied for first at 58. One Hall of Famer, another guy who's going in. Josh Allen is 3rd with 54.
Wow.
Not shocking. Future Hall of Famer. Peyton Manning right now and Justin Herbert are tied for 4th. But Herbert could surpass Peyton Manning.
He's going to sometime this year.
4th. I would be shocked if he didn't at some point this year. So let's not have that happen on Sunday night. Let's make him wait another couple weeks to do that here.
Real quick, I mean, some of it's because people throw more now than ever.
Totally.
And, the next generation will pass him quicker.
It's nuts that Dan Marino's in a group with those other guys.
I was going to say that, too. Like, man, people forget how good Marino was to start his career. It was ridiculous. But Herbert had a pretty rare start to his career by NFL history. I mean, it's as good as basically any quarterback ever over the first 5-6 years.
And you're just a distraction here for a second.
Yeah.
You're very, I know Justin Herbert's one of those almost polarizing enigma type quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Because people will go, well, what has he ever won? Who has he ever beaten? He's done nothing in the postseason.
Mm-hmm.
But I get that. I do. But I also think it's tough to deny that he's a top 5, top 6, top 7 quarterback in the NFL right now.
Me too. I mean, I'm very pro Herbert. And there are some people like, oh, he had that. The Chargers imploded against the Jags in the postseason, and there's been some postseason stuff that's not great, and some turnovers in the postseason. Okay, I mean, I'm not saying people overrate that. I mean, because obviously the Steelers have not had postseason success lately either. But I do think people don't realize how hard it is to win a playoff game in this league. I mean, Dale and I have talked about that a ton. Like, man, they only give out 13 wins a year.
That is crazy.
You don't get that often.
The Super Bowl champ is taking 3 or 4.
3 or 4.
And the runner-up is taking 2 or 3.
Right. And then you got 6 left for everybody else or whatever. Right. I mean, now, that's not okay. I mean, when you're comparing them against the top dudes. But I think I said this the other day. I still think there's a tier 1 that hasn't changed for me. That's Burrow.
The big 4.
Yeah. Burrow, Lamar, Allen, Mahomes. But he would be 5, and the only guy that I think I can...
Let me guess. Matthew Stafford?
Stafford, I could battle him out. Yeah, I'm like, if I had to make the case for Stafford over Herbert, I could make that case. I would pick Herbert just because of his athleticism.
If it was like maybe you had to go win a game this weekend with one of them, you would take Stafford. But if you're talking...
No one's playing better than Stafford right this minute.
If you're talking in terms of their age and their longevity,
well, then it's not close,
point,
of course. But I'm just talking about how good they are right now as players overall. They're the 2 fighting for number 5 for me.
I think that's fair. I'm with you on that. And hopefully that won't rear its ugly head and Herbert take over a game.
Because he could take the game over.
He absolutely could.
I mean,
he's done that a couple times this season.
And he's running a lot more, too. I mean, we saw him 2 games ago just tear the Steelers up with his legs, too.
Yes. That's a great point.
And he throws the ball as well as anyone in the league, if not better.
I'm a big fan of his. I really am. Liked him coming out of Oregon. And he's really leveled up this year, to use a Matt Williamson term.
Yeah.
Some history.
One thing I miss about not like being on the road or being with a team is one of my favorite things I got with the Browns. I never even traveled with them. Was just going down on the field pregame and watching some big time quarterbacks warm up. Like I remember walking just being like near Carson Palmer when he was warming up when he was at the height of his powers. I'm like, oh, that's what the first overall pick looks like.
Yep.
Like I bet Herbert's like. Wow. Just sit there goofing off with his buddies an hour before game day, warming up, would be like, oh, baby, sign me up with that.
So you'll laugh at this, Matt. Okay, another quick, shiny silver object for you here.
Yeah.
Dan Quinlan and I are kind of like the behind the scenes guys for our Steelers game day broadcasts. I'm the engineer. He's the producer. We're in the booth with Max and Rob. We are the ones who, first one's in, last one's out. Set everything up, all that stuff. One of the things we have to set up is Missi Matthews' wireless mic for her sideline reports.
Makes sense.
So what we typically do is I set up all the gear and the frequencies and everything, get it all ready. Dan goes down onto the field, and then I'm up in the booth at the rack, and we test.
Oh, okay.
And
make sure it works.
9 times out of 10, it sounds great, but sometimes I've got to tinker a few little things, like that. Let's try it. This frequency has a little interference. Let's try a different one. Let's try the backup.
Yeah.
Dan's down on the field, like walking the sideline, like sounds good. It's not popping. We're all good. We're getting range from everywhere. We're all set.
So I'm sure you have to go all different spots too.
Yes.
Right.
Normally I let him do that. Because, especially like starting to be this time of year, I don't want to be going down the sideline in the cold and the rain,
nasty.
Walking through all the bowels of these stadiums.
Happy as could be in my booth.
Going through security. But there's been 2 times in my 4 years now traveling with the team and working all the game days that I've been like, Dan, I'm going down on the field.
Can I do it? Yeah.
Can you guess the 2 quarterbacks that I wanted to go down on the field? Because I wanted to go watch 2 quarterbacks throw and warm up.
Okay.
Last year on Christmas.
I say Josh Allen or Mahomes?
Last year on Christmas, Mahomes. And then would have been 2 years ago when Tom Brady was here with the Bucs.
Yeah,
I might have to do it with Josh Allen this year, Thanksgiving weekend.
Oh yeah, see those guys that close, you're like,
it's unbelievable.
Whoa. It's unbelievable, right?
You and I, we talked about it to death at training camp, just sitting there watching Aaron Rodgers sling it in practice every day.
Oh yeah,
and you watch him and Mason Rudolph, who's a viable NFL quarterback. Like Mason is no slouch, and just they're doing the same drill, and it just looks Aaron Rodgers. It's crisper, it's quicker, right. It's unbelievable.
Again, all respect. I mean, like if you watched Rudolph and those guys before Rodgers signed up, you're like, oh, they're really impressive throwing the football. I've never seen anybody like that. If you don't do this for a living, and then you see that guy, like, oh boy, right?
I see why he's going to trot into Canton when he retires.
Yeah.
Matt,
similar kind of a star story. I mean,
go ahead. Let's do it. Let's swap a story here.
Pre-game, when the Ravens came to Cleveland when I was there, and it was way before the game. Like people just kind of hanging. There was like 5 or 6 Ravens that were way in their own corner. Like it was like their own fraternity. Like nobody else could be in there. And I forget exactly who they were, but it was definitely Ogden, Suggs, Lewis, Reed, and I think it was Dion or Woodson. I forget who was not like drafted by them.
Sure.
But like the backup left guard wasn't allowed to go hang with those dudes. Like I just kept walking like as close as I could. Like I wonder what they're talking about.
I'd love to just be a fly buzzing around in the middle of that conversation.
Some of the best guys I've ever played. Right?
That's awesome.
But they were in their own. They were way apart from everybody else. Just. I don't know what they were talking about. They could have been talking about pizza or who knows. But I'm like, I want to know what they're doing.
Crab cakes and football.
Yeah, right.
So not only, real quick before we go to break and get to Missi Matthews, not only does Justin Herbert have a chance to separate himself from Peyton Manning in terms of a statistic here, so does Aaron Rodgers.
His is also Manning, right?
His is also.
Now I'm thinking about it, yeah.
He is most games with multiple touchdown passes in NFL history, okay?
So one of them's multiple touchdowns for the first 6 years. One of them's ever.
Tom Brady, number 1 overall.
Of course. I don't know if anyone will ever catch him.
I don't know. Maybe Mahomes can, but
maybe.
Drew Brees, number 2. Peyton Manning and Aaron Rodgers are tied for number 3 with 165 multiple touchdown games in their career.
These things that Lab sent us from the league, I mean, the career stuff you get from Rodgers is just
crazy,
mind-boggling. Yeah,
crazy
number of touchdowns. I mean, that's multiple touchdown games. That's not how many touchdowns he's thrown in his life. That's games he's thrown multiple. And some of them are 3 and 4.
And I was going to say, spoiler alert, most of them aren't 2.
They're not
like
all 2.
They're like 3 or 4 or 5.
Yeah, I bet 50% of them are 2. Right. Because he just had another one.
Exactly right.
I mean, he has more than anyone since Ben in a Steeler uniform.
He's got more touchdown passes in, 8 games than any Steelers quarterback since Ben had in an entire season.
In an entire season. It's nuts.
It's crazy.
And I don't mean to pick on the guy, but just watching the game last night, they showed Pickett's career stats. I'm like, he still only has 15 touchdowns in his whole career. I mean, he's a 15 to 14 TD to interception ratio. I'm like, you haven't thrown any more since then.
Aaron Rodgers has 17 this year at age 41.
Right. Pickett's been around, 4 or 5 years? 5, 6 years? Whatever it is, 5 years? I mean, You got
it's
15 career touchdown passes?
Like you said, if you just went out on a field as a casual fan and watched Kenny Pickett throw the football, you'd be like, that looks different.
Great.
That guy's an NFL quarterback.
Yeah.
But when you get into this type of rarefied air,
I mean,
this is the 1% of the 1% right here.
You should try to go on the field and watch Herbert. I mean, he's pretty special, too.
Maybe.
Yeah. Oh, man.
The only thing is that's SoFi. That stadium's a beast, man. I might get lost walking around in that place. We'll see. I might have to do it. I'll let you know. The weather's going to be lovely. We'll see how it all plays out. The great Missi Matthews joins us when we return on the other side. Just getting started today. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson. It's The Drive on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Back on the drive here on a Friday as we get ready for Sunday Night Football, setting the scene for Steelers, Chargers, a big one for both of these teams. And joining us now, the queen of the sideline. You will hear her on the call with Rob King and Max Starks. Of course, the great Missi Matthews. Missi, thank you for taking the time for us here on a Friday, as always. Earlier in the week, I think it was Wednesday, Matt and I had talking about SoFi Stadium, kind of just a conversation of the coolest stadiums and arenas that we had ever been to in our lives. And SoFi was very high on my list. Would you concur? It's a pretty special stadium they have out there in LA.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I feel like, Vegas is cool too. There's just something different about SoFi. I kind of like that it's the canopy open air type concept, but you're still, not freezing your butt off. Not that it would ever be really that cold there. But yeah, I don't know. Even just how their field suites are set up, I really like those. And yeah, I don't even know what to say about it because it's just like everything about it was very thoroughly thought out.
So what percentage are you guessing of black and gold on Sunday night?
I think it's going to be high.
Yeah.
I know the Chargers have a good record. I don't know. I still will never forget the 2019 game. Granted, it was in a soccer stadium and, they weren't, maybe the Chargers fans weren't as excited about the team as they potentially are now, but Steelers fans took it over. They tried to Rick Ross the team and play Renegade and then scratch out of it. And fans were too bad, we're singing it. It was just, I don't know. It was just insane, the way that they can take over. And I think because it's West Coast, there's not many games out there, although I do feel like we go out there a lot in recent years, probably because of Vegas. But, yeah, I think it's going to be a high percentage of Steelers fans.
Certainly is. And Missi, I know, you like myself were fortunate enough to see a lot of those Steelers Nation takeovers, and it still never ceases to amaze you. I'm expecting to see that again on Sunday night. One of the things that you hear those guys talk about all the time, like the TJ Watts and the Cam Haywards, the leaders of that defense, is just how demoralizing it can be for an opposing team to have to go to a silent count in their own stadium. And I think, just especially this week when it's a kind of a patchwork, ragtag Chargers offensive line that they're trying to figure out through so many injuries, if Steeler fans can really show up and show out, that can even add, I think, just another roadblock for this Chargers offense that's trying to figure things out in the trenches and
new
have
tackles. Absolutely.
That can cause some communication problems for a lot of new faces.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was very startling almost when I heard Aaron Rodgers say that, Packers fans got a little too loud there towards the second half. And he was like, it's been a really long time since I've used the silent count at home. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's horrible. And I mean, we never have that problem, it feels like. But we're so used to doing it other places that you're like, I can't even imagine. That's horrible.
Yeah.
So
wait a second. We do that to people. You don't do that to us.
Right. I was like, huh? But I mean, I will give Packers fans credit. They traveled well. They were very loud. They were very into the game. And anytime I've been at Lambeau, they're the nicest people. They're cutthroat and they want their team to win, but they're still nice. It's a bizarre thing. But I do think, especially with them losing their 2 starting tackles, kind of the crown jewel of their offensive line that they were so excited about heading into this season, losing both of those guys is huge. And I just think that the Steelers can certainly defensively take advantage of that and hopefully, get Justin Herbert to make some pretty bad decisions with the ball.
So a very loyal listener that I was fortunate enough to meet at training camp tweeted me just like half an hour ago to ask you if you had any input on the Cole Holcomb situation. I feel like we should be talking about this more. He's still ill. And what's going on with Trice? If you don't, you don't. But I was just curious if you had any input on those.
I don't.
Okay.
When I did see that Corey Trice was, they started his 21-day window, super excited. Will not forget, what he was able to do in Denver last year, and just, what he went through to get to that point, then to, end up back on IR eventually.
And not to interrupt, Missi, but it feels like the organization loves this guy as a person, and I mean, like everyone on the planet's rooting for Corey Trice,
1,000,000%.
Yeah.
Yes. And I think, I remember when Joe Hayden kind of told everybody how Coach Tomlin was calling Corey and JPJ, these avatar cornerbacks. And it's true. That's how they're built. Obviously drafted very differently because of their health history. But then when he popped up on the injury report with like a new injury, the slash in the knee, I was like, oh man, I don't know. So I don't have really any insight into it. And obviously because he's still in that practice window, it's not like it has to be, discussed and whatnot. And then I think the Cole Holcomb thing, just very strange.
Yeah.
That's
I was hoping he's
all
okay.
I can say about it. I don't have any magical info or insight into like what could have happened. But I hope that, everything's okay. And obviously Chuck Clark is able to come back a little bit. So I'm really anxious to see that status report for the game that comes out later today.
Speaking of illnesses, did you get the impression on Sunday that DK Metcalf was battling through some stuff too?
Illnesses? I don't know. I mean, obviously he had a very not stat, driven day.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that you were seeing a little bit more, and maybe it was just, it just felt like even that one drive where you were like, oh, Caleb Johnson's in the game. Where did that come from? And then he stayed in there, and then we saw some more Roman Wilson, and until really that boneheaded, mistake that Coach Tomlin kind of talked about on Tuesday. So I don't know if it was just a matter of that, or maybe there was something, a touch of something he was dealing with, and he just, needed a rest. But
Missi Matthews with us here on The Drive. Missi, I wanted to ask you from your standpoint on Sunday in that Colts game. One of the things that Matt and I talked about earlier this week was how it seemed like the move of Jalen Ramsey back to safety really stabilized things on the back end, and particularly from a communication standpoint, especially when you consider that, his running mate, Kyle Duggar, had just gotten to town like 48 or 72 hours earlier. Too often, and particularly against Cincinnati and Green Bay in those 2 losses, but we saw it a little bit, like popcorn in some other games as well, too. Guys in that secondary after plays, kind of standing around with their palms up, looking at each other like, what happened there? We weren't on the same page. I thought you had him. No, I thought you had him. That wasn't the case on Sunday against one of the NFL's best offenses in Indianapolis. They were very buttoned up on that standpoint. I just wondered what you saw, what you heard, how you thought Jalen Ramsey, moving back to safety was able to just, again, I think stabilize is the word I keep coming back to for that group in the secondary.
And I'm sure those conversations when they had the issues extended to the sidelines after too. Yeah.
Right. And I agree with the move of Jalen Ramsey. You knew going in there was going to be a lot of undecided, undetermined, not knowing who will be available things. Kyle Duggar, as you said, basically, spent like a practice and a half getting to run through this defense. And Ramsey knows where everybody should be and what should be happening. And I agree. Stabilizing is the word I keep using too, but I think it's very true. And I think it's, he gives this amazing speech in the team meeting the night before. Then he unselfishly is playing a position at a very extensive level that he has not extensively played for a very long time. and it's just like, whatever we need to do, we need to get the win. And I just think he really did help Kyle Duggar. Just the interactions between those two on the field, on the sidelines. You could just tell that Ramsey was like, all right, this is my guy. Let's go. Like, I got you under my wing. We're going to figure this out. And I think one of my mentors throughout my career, he would always, whenever you start getting flustered about something, just remember KISS, keep it simple, stupid. And he's like, when you say that to yourself, then you're kind of like, wow, I'm overthinking this. And I truly believe, just from what all the players even said, they simplified things on defense. There wasn't, intricate calls where it really mattered who was in what position or what personnel grouping that, could lead to confusion. And I think simplifying it, knowing what you were going to have to deal with moving parts did help indeed. And it just let them play fast and free. And it was just fun. Obviously not for Indy, but like as a Steelers fan watching that, every single one of my neighbors, friends, people I work out with were like, that was just such a fun game. And it was because of the way that they were playing fast and free.
So I love asking you about Aaron Rodgers on game day. And, the Steelers won. They put up points. But even after the game, he said something along the lines of, we got to put up more points whenever we get gifted the football, through turnovers that much. Did you sense any frustration with him against the Colts?
I don't necessarily think frustration. I think, he really wanted that touchdown that he went to Darnell twice when they were down in the red zone. Yeah. There were just the little things, I think, obviously, not to keep harping on Roman Wilson, but like that play, Ben Skoranek wanted to kill him. So I could only imagine, I was so taken back by Ben that I didn't really get a good look at Aaron right after that. But I just think, the 3 and outs, those are just, he's such a perfectionist. I don't think it's like a bad frustration. It's just like, this is the play. This is what everyone's supposed to do. This is how it's supposed to work. And when it doesn't, he wants to go into like the why. Why didn't it work? Why wasn't this person there? So it's more or less like helping too. And I think it's great for this young offense to have somebody like that is not afraid to go up and down the bench, talk to different position groups, talk to all the coaches. He doesn't just sit there and not communicate with people. He probably over communicates, but I am the person who would rather have somebody over communicate with me than leave me in a state where I'm still not sure what you're thinking, but I'm probably thinking badly. So then it makes me worried. So he's a straight shooter. And I think that is a good thing for them in terms of it. And even just, the minutia of, he talks about what happens in practices. And 2.5 weeks ago, me and Pat Freiermuth finally got this play down pat, and then we were able to put it, into the game and score a touchdown. I just think he's so into the details, and obviously that's why at 41 he is still able to play and just have the, above the neck advantage that no one can really touch. It's just incredible how good he is in terms of, using cadence, snap counts, all those things, just the little things that it doesn't matter what you can do with your arm, you are above and beyond where other people are on the other side of the field.
It doesn't hurt to have his arm.
No,
pretty good
he
too.
Can still sling it and throw across his body, and all the things where it's still some of those throws. I'm still like, wow, okay.
It's incredible. It's incredible. It's why he's going to trot into Canton whenever he does finally decide to hang him up. A star-studded quarterback matchup, certainly. The stars always come out in L.A., and hopefully Aaron Rodgers, back in his home state, will be the one shining most bright. The great Missi Matthews, kind enough to give us some of her time here on a Friday. Missy, great stuff. Thank you. I'll see you on the plane tomorrow morning, and we'll be listening for you on the call on Sunday.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, guys.
There she goes. Thank you, Missi Matthews, kind enough, as always, to join us. That's an early flight out tomorrow, cousin, I tell you.
Why are you guys going so early?
We always do when we go to the West Coast.
Just to acclimate a little bit more.
Acclimate a little bit more, yeah.
Okay, I was thinking night game. I mean, there's no rush to get there, but right.
It's normally like 3 o'clock. If it's East Coast or Midwest, we'll normally leave about 3 o'clock-ish on Saturdays.
Okay.
But if we go
if it's a 1 o'clock Ravens game, it's a 3 o'clock. Okay.
Right, yes. If we go to like Vegas, Denver, Vegas, or further west, we usually leave at 9 o'clock in the morning on Saturday.
Okay.
So,
how long is the flight?
I think a little over 5 hours.
Okay. I know, of course, people should know this, but obviously you guys don't have any layovers or any of that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Right,
and
right.
The nice thing about it, too, is when you fly commercially, Matt, and I'm sure you probably know this, but just a quick little peek for our listeners. When you fly commercially, you're kind of beholden to a schedule because that flight
also don't have police escorts.
That flight is going from Pittsburgh to Charlotte, then it's going from Charlotte to Denver, then it's going from Denver to San Francisco. It's a lot like a bus schedule in school.
Sure,
Everything's timed out.
I went to Lebo. We didn't have buses.
Yeah,
we were tough.
You walked.
Yeah, we were tough guys.
Yeah, you walked both ways uphill.
In the snow.
One shoe.
Right.
With a charter flight like this, a private flight like this, they're not beholden to any schedule. It's not like we have to land in LA at a certain time. Like, they put the pedal down and we get there faster.
I see what you're saying.
So my wife and I go out to Vegas like once a year. When we fly to Vegas on the Steelers plane, it's less than a 4 hour. It's like 3 hours and 50 minutes.
Okay.
You fly to Vegas just out of Pittsburgh International.
Straight.
And it's like 4.5 hours, 4:45.
Wow, it's that big a difference.
Yeah,
right.
so when you're flying cross country, you can really cut some time off, but it'll still probably be like about 5 hours, I would imagine. And then we'll be taking the red eye back Sunday night after the game, baby. Woo!
Is that just sleepy fest?
Hopefully.
Those red eyes?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not great at sleeping on a plane, but it's like, we get in the air and all the lights go off and everyone
Are the players quiet?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
and
sure
they got the sleep. They got the fancy sleep pods and stuff at the front of the plane.
They have a different world than
and
you
all
guys,
that.
right?
Yeah. But they are. Yeah. Usually, like when we take off, if it's, and you know this too. Again, if the atmosphere is completely different after a loss than a win.
Of course, it's going to be 1,000 times different, right?
So if you lose, it's
no
like
matter
sit
how
down,
you win or how you lose.
It's like sit down, shut up, don't smile. You know what I mean?
Because we lost.
Don't even look like you're thinking about smiling. If it's a win, which hopefully it will be, then usually for maybe the first hour there'll be some ha rah back and forth.
Yeah. Like,
and then everybody will go to bed.
You don't be okay.
Yeah. So it'll be an interesting one, certainly, and a big one on Sunday Night Football.
Food on a plane?
Yeah.
I mean, for that flight, I would think.
As you can, there's so much food.
It's good food.
Very
good. It's
good
not
food.
Airplane crappy.
No, it's really good stuff. And then they come through with like cookies and ice cream bars and desserts and all kind of stuff too. You will not go hungry when you're traveling with the Steelers.
I'm sure.
I promise you that.
That's awesome.
That was the one thing you didn't get to experience in Dublin. I'm kind of bummed for you. Because it
wasn't Steeler food.
We didn't stay at the same place as the Steelers in Dublin. They were outside of the city.
Oh, right.
And so you didn't get to experience the wonders of the Steelers.
Oh, I miss
the Steelers.
We used to call it
food.
like snack. Like you could go get a to-go thing just of anything you wanted at like 11 p.m. or whatever. Yeah.
You walk in at 11 o'clock.
There's a whole ballroom full of food.
There's a pasta bar where you can make whatever kind of pasta you want. There's filet mignon.
Oh, I miss that from being with teams.
Oh, it's incredible.
And really, I haven't really done that since Pitt.
Yeah, that's true. Right. Normally, I only get for the 1 o'clock games on the road. I normally only get the breakfast and then quit.
But the breakfasts were awesome.
Breakfast.
I was going to say
omelet bar and smoothie bar every breakfast.
Yeah.
But I'll get the lunch for this one on Sunday too.
Nice.
The pregame meal, which is usually like chicken parm and filet mignon and all that good stuff.
Which, of course, these are fine-tuned athletes. You can eat very healthy if you want. But you can also eat crappy if you want, like there's sausage and, bacon and, like.
Everything you can imagine is there,
right.
Certainly. One more segment to go. When we return on the other side, we'll start breaking down a little 5-Star Friday. We'll get into some of these matchups between Steelers and Chargers. All that and more. It's The Drive on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Back on The Drive here as we close down the first hour. And Matt, we only have a couple minutes in this segment before we got to kind of reset our clock for hour number 2. I know I said we were going to get into 5-Star Friday, but I kind of found a shiny silver object here that I want to run past you for a few minutes.
Okay, cool.
And then we'll do 5-Star to start the second hour. Playoff probabilities are out for Week 10.
Okay.
In terms of if the teams win, what their playoff status looks like. If the teams lose, what their playoff status looks like.
Before, I don't know how much we'll talk. I probably won't talk much about last night's game, but that was massive for Denver. It was an ugly win, but just mathematically, they're in such a good spot.
8-2.
A conference win, a division win.
Long week to prepare for the Chiefs.
I would say they play one game in 23 days, and that's the Chief game. Setting up really well for Denver.
That was an ugly one last night.
Oh, that's a bad football game.
The Raiders are a mess, and they're, 2-6 now? But If they just had a field goal kicker, they could be 4-5.
Yeah,
they could have won.
which is amazing.
If they had a field goal kicker, they could have won 2 games in the last 5 days and be 4-5.
That's a great point. I mean, I don't want to talk too much about the game.
Yeah.
That was a tough watch.
It was a tough watch.
Made me dislike Thursday football even more, and I'm not high on it to begin with. But Denver couldn't punt. I mean, penalties left and right.
It was bad.
Yeah.
Thursday night football is typically not great, but that was an extra
Sticky
dose
one.
of not so good last night. Let's get into some playoff probabilities here from this game, and then maybe a couple other pertinent ones from across the league. Steelers, Matt, with a win. This is a stark difference. With a win, the Steelers would drive their playoff probability to 75%.
I actually knew that because I always put that in the stat pack
You
every
do,
week.
that's right.
I only put the Steelers, but I don't know the other teams. It's
a
big difference.
Do you know what it'd be for the Steelers if they lose?
No, I should remember, but I'm guessing it's like 54.
42%.
Oh, wow. It's under 50.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Which,
and that doesn't even matter what the Ravens do.
Well, I think part of that is because these models are expecting the Ravens to win some games down the stretch.
Yeah.
That still has to happen.
Sure. Right.
Like, they've got a tough one, Baltimore.
I think they have a really tough one this week.
Yeah.
We'll pick games later, but
yeah.
I don't love their chances.
I know that their schedule is much easier, but they still go to Minnesota. They still have Green Bay. They still play the Steelers twice. Like,
it doesn't happen very often where teams win like 8 out of 9
right.
in this league.
Right. And a lot of people are giving the Ravens the benefit of the doubt in that regard, and I get it.
Right.
But
that Steeler win over the Colts makes their life a lot harder.
That 42% seems I would think it would be more like 50-something like you said. But according to...
But it would be a conference loss.
Yeah. According to the advanced analytics, Steelers 75% chance to make the playoffs if they win, 42% if they lose.
Doesn't feel like that big a game.
Yeah.
But that's pretty huge.
For the Chargers, it's pretty significant. And you can imagine that in the scope of their division and, the Chiefs right on their heels and the Broncos obviously being 8-2 already. With a win, the Chargers' playoff probability would go to 85%.
Really?
With a loss, 55%.
In that division, too. I mean, there's more teams to fight with, less chance to win the division than the Steelers or Ravens would have.
Yeah.
And I wonder, I mean, do they know that they don't have any offensive linemen? You know what I mean?
Does the model account for that?
Yeah.
They have taken care of some of their tougher games on the schedule already, the Chargers have.
Okay.
But still, that Steelers seems a little low for me. Like, I would think with a win, it'd be closer to 80%. With a loss, closer to 50%. For the Chargers, maybe with a loss, it dips down a little below 50%.
Mm-hmm.
But that's, again, who am I to argue with?
Yeah.
I mean,
I believe
There's
them.
clearly a method here. A couple others, Matt. Stark difference for the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars this week.
This is a big game for them.
73% if they win, 41% if they lose.
I bet they're not even on there, but if Houston loses, they might be done.
Houston is on here.
Oh, are they? Okay.
Just 34% chance to make the playoffs if they win. 9% chance if they lose.
With Davis Mills.
Yeah.
And we might be scratching them off the list.
It might be scratching them off the list. And the last one to run by you here that kind of stood out to me, actually 2 more, both from the NFC North. Detroit. I mean, they're 5-3. They've been at the top of our power rankings for the past couple weeks until they lost to Minnesota.
They seem like they should have a better record than the Steelers, right?
Right. With a win, 77%. With a loss, 49%. Because, again, that division race is tough, and that NFC wildcard race is going to be loaded.
I mean, in that division, you could lose 2 in a row and be in last place.
It's crazy.
Yeah, if things don't go your way.
Crazy. And then a obviously massive Sunday for the Chicago Bears as well, too. If they win, they've got a 42% chance to make the playoffs. If they lose, just 17.
Wow. Okay. So we could almost be scratching them off the list if they, especially in that division.
And that I think it's a elimination type Sunday for Chicago. It's certainly an elimination Sunday for the Houston Texans.
1,000%.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, you don't have your quarterback.
And C.J. Stroud has not been cleared out of concussion protocol. In fact, they've ruled him out already.
Yeah, he's
right?
not playing.
Which in the long term for them is probably the smart decision. But man,
it's kind of a wasted year, though.
It feels like for them and for the Washington Commanders, like a real sunken year.
Sunken year when
and
there was
if
a lot of hope.
Chargers get a couple more losses here, it could start feeling that same way for them.
I'm going to predict that for the Chargers. I mean, there's a couple teams I think are ready to. We'll talk about this when we start talking about games. But I think like the Eagles might be ready to show the league that they're awesome again.
Yeah.
Where
they certainly beefed up at the trade deadline too.
Yeah. Like I look at the Chargers and be like, man, you're not getting any linemen back, period. Like this could be when you look at the season and be like, man, you hung around well, but then they just couldn't keep up.
Hopefully that's the song that they're singing in Los Angeles on Monday morning after a big Steelers Sunday night victory. In hour number 2, 5-Star Friday, we'll go around the league, and we will, of course, give our predictions for Sunday night football. All of that when we return halfway home on the drive on Steelers Nation Radio. Good evening, Steeler Nation. How we doing? Well, that's good. Us too. Hour number 2 here on the drive. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson, down the home stretch, final hour of the week. And you know what that means. It's time for our matchup segment. It's time for a little 5-Star Friday. As I pick the brain of our resident scout and football expert, the wonderful world, the weird world of Matt Williamson. We're going to make that an off-season. We're going to make that an off-season weekly thing, the weird world of Matt Williamson, where we'll come up with something different and obscure to talk about football-related every single week. But for now, it's just quite simply 5-Star Friday. Matt, I know that we talked some of this in the first segment, but
yeah.
It really does feel like the juiciest matchups to sink your teeth into in this one are Chargers offense, Steelers defense.
Yeah.
And really, it starts with the quarterback, Justin Herbert, as we discussed at the start of the show. But then I think you go to the talented pass catchers that the Chargers have at wide receiver and tight end. Can you talk a little bit more about those guys?
Yeah. I mean, so just kind of give you the rundown on each one of them. I mean, Gadsden has come on like gangbusters. I mean, these last 3-4 weeks, he's like the most productive tight end in the league. He's Syracuse dude. People might remember his dad.
Wolf would have loved this.
Oh, Benzie loves it too. We were talking about it on Wednesday night.
Wolf would have loved talking about a Syracuse tight end, man.
And he doesn't block anybody. He's a big receiver. I mean, he's 230 pounds. I mean, that's why he dropped. He's a true tweener. But he was really productive. He's a good football player, and he's come on like gangbusters. Because he's come on so much, and they like to play multiple, tight end sets with like Matlock and big blocker, bruiser dudes. So they get their blocking elsewhere. But he's cut into like Keenan Allen's usage. I mean, they have too many good pass catchers to get on the field, which was kind of an Indy and Green Bay problem too. Like, it's nice to have Chase and Higgins, and they're always out. That's real nice.
Indy traded one of those guys this past week, but
yeah, right. But they have that issue too. So one thing they've been doing lately, so Gadsden's really good after catch. He's a dynamic young tight end that's come on strong. One thing they've been doing the last couple of weeks, though, and I think it's to help the O-line, is they've been playing with one wide receiver on the field. Like, you'll see some sets with one wide receiver on the field, which is very rare in this league. I think people know. And it's been Trey Harris, the rookie, who's not one of their best guys, but he's a big-bodied, tough guy, downfield dude, size, speed, second-round pick that blocks. I mean, he's a physical guy. So that's something that's been kind of a new wrinkle lately, is sometimes you'll see a lot of heavy bodies with these Matlock-type dudes. And Gadsden, I mean, because Gadsden's really a receiver, but they count him as a tight end. So Trey Harris is an intriguing young player. I think everyone knows who McConkey is at this point, but there is a misconception, maybe because of skin color, to be honest with you, that he's slot only. He's Wes Welker. No, he's all the above. I mean, he's a big-time outside receiver, and he's not having a monster year because they just spread the ball around so much. I mean, in the stat pack, I forget what the numbers are, but there's 4 or 5 guys that are between like 350 and 450 yards. There's no go-to option, and that makes it hard to defend because they all can hurt you in a magnitude of ways. Allen's basically just a slot only at this point. He doesn't run well, but he didn't run well coming out of Cal 15 years ago or whatever.
He's really made an incredible career for himself.
I thought he was done with the Bears. People even asked me, should Steelers have any interest in this guy? I'm like,
that was one of those things we talked about during training camp before he signed with the Chargers.
I don't see it anymore. He still knows how. He's the old man at the Y that gets every rebound. He knows how to get open. He's that guy.
Knocks down his free throws.
Right. I mean, he just knows where to be on the court. I mean, that type of dude. But his role's dropping just because there's too many good pass catchers. And the last guy I want to bring up too is Quentin Johnston, who was a first-round pick.
First-round pick out of TCU.
Yes. And he's by far having his best season. I think this is his 3rd year in the league.
Yes, because his last year was that TCU team that beat Michigan in the semifinal and then got boat raced by Georgia in the national championship.
Now, I don't think Harbaugh drafted him.
He did not.
He did not. He wouldn't have because he got boat raced by Michigan, right?
Yeah, that's right. Harbaugh probably doesn't like that guy.
Right. Johnson's probably like, I remember when you guys destroyed us. Right?
Coach, what's up, man?
Coach, I bet that comes up from time to time. But especially his rookie year, he was horrible. I mean, so many drops, and he does have drop issues still. He's never going to be a clean catcher of the football. He had him at TCU. But they misused him a great deal. And this year they've really started to figure it out. And Harbaugh started to figure it out last year. Just because he's 6'3.5" and 210 pounds and looks wonderful and he's super fast, people think he's an on-the-line beat man coverage, technician, downfield, Pickens, Metcalf type. Mm-hmm. He's not at all. I mean, he's much more of a move Z type guy. Get him on a slant, get the ball in his hands, and he runs away from people and breaks tackles. I mean, he's a lot more Debo than he is Pickens.
Yes.
So they've really gotten a wide variety. I mean, we've had this conversation, but I like bringing it up too, there's a theory out there that you want your pass catchers to resemble a basketball team. I want a point guard. I want a guy that's a little bit taller. I want the shooting forward or shooting guard. I want the power forward, and then I want the center. I want a wide variety. Mm-hmm. And they do. And they really understand their roles.
It's why they're able to still be where they're at despite all those injuries on the offensive line and in the backfield.
Right.
I mean, obviously Herbert deserves a ton of credit, but they've got some real talented guys. And the one area that I give Harbaugh credit is a lot of those guys are kind of written off, at times in their career, other than Ladd McConkey, but he's found a way to make them all put them in the right spot to succeed.
1,000%.
Too many of those guys were being asked to be a point guard when they should be a shooting guard, being asked to be a power forward when they should have been a small forward.
And that's a Harbaugh thing, too. He really recognizes how to put guys in their best situation, how to pump them up. I mean, he's like well known for inflating the egos, which is a great trait of his quarterbacks to no end, just giving them unlimited confidence. Like when he got there, he's like, I stay awake laying and staring at my ceiling at night trying to figure out how to get Justin Herbert in the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
He
used to talk about J.J. McCarthy like he was
same way, right?
Andrew
Like he walks
Luck
on
dipped
water.
in Tom Brady.
Yeah, exactly. And which players respond to. I mean, especially at the college level. I mean, that goes a long way. But
Absolutely.
Herbert also at this point too is he's going to diagnose things. He's played a lot of football. He's super smart. These guys are going to catch balls even if protection's an issue. I mean, he's going to find matchups to his liking on Sunday night.
Let's spin the block here and take a look at the Steelers' offense against the Chargers' defense. Matt, a couple household names on that Chargers defense, obviously, and Khalil Mack and Derwin James. But they've also got
as many as you think. I mean, there's a lot.
It's not the days of Ingram and Bosa. But they've also got one of the best up-and-coming young off-ball linebackers in football as well.
Yeah. So, first of all, this is also a Harbaugh thing. I think the whole is greater than the sum of the parts on defense. It's a well-coached group. They don't have superstars everywhere, but it's always a solid defense since he's been there.
That's one thing that he's done from Stanford
everywhere.
To San Francisco to Michigan to L.A. They're always good.
And they're always going
to
play hard. They're going to be fundamentally sound. They're going to tackle well. They're going to get a lot of guys to the ball. Anyone loafing is going to get dragged off the field. So he instills that immediately, and you'll see it. I want to start with the edge guys, though. Khalil Mack, unfortunately, is really playing with one hand. With one arm. I think it's a pec, or maybe it's even an elbow, but he was injured a couple weeks ago, and he probably shouldn't be out there anymore. Like, if they were out of it, if you go watch his recent tape, it doesn't look like the Khalil Mack that's going to the Hall of Fame.
Sure.
I mean, he doesn't.
Defensive Player of the Year, Khalil Mack.
Yeah, and I think it's his left arm that he can barely tackle or take blocks on with that arm. And it's just a side note, but I always think of Khalil Mack whenever I think about this too. Like, he was so good. He's one of the best I've ever seen with a long arm technique, they call it, as a pass rusher, where he gets his body like perpendicular to the tackle's chest. So I'm coming at you like this, and and with that long arm, it doesn't matter how long.
Stabs you to death.
Yeah, it just stabs you to death, and it hits you right in the chest and drives you up. And you have to have great strength to do it, but if you're a tackle with exceptionally long arms, like many of these guys are in the league, it nullifies you because no one's arms, yes, my arms are longer than yours. I'm 6'3" and I'm taller than you. I probably have longer arms if we look right at each other. But if you come at me the opposite direction and long arms me
and the right launch angle.
Right. He's great at that. And I think a lot of it's nullified because he's kind of only playing with one arm, So that, and oh, by the way, you have an off arm to do other things with,
So it's almost like taking away his fastball.
It's in a way. But the other two are good. Owe keeps racking up sacks since they traded for him. He's super talented. And Tui Topolopo, I know that's not how you say his name. But
I'm not going to try. We'll just call him TT.
But he's a good young player that's why Bosa's not there, was to get him on the field.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
it was we can let Bosa walk. We've got this young guy who's younger and more cost-effective.
We need to get this guy on the field. Deion Henley's who you're talking about as the off-ball linebacker. It's much like the Edgerrin Cooper conversation we had.
I had a feeling that you were going to draw that parallel from the Packers conversation a couple weeks ago.
They're two of my, let's call them young off-the-ball linebackers that I think will be stars. They're the next generation of top dudes. Henley's season's been a little up and down. It hasn't been quite as good as I expected, but man, he shows up. I was talking to Rob at lunch yesterday, and he's like, I watched all the Charger games. And he's like, I'd never heard of him. Who's this Henley dude? He's like, he's everywhere. I'm like, yeah, he's everywhere. He's really long. He's lean. He's only like 220 pounds, but he's got like the narrow waist, super athletic, flies around the field, but he will show up a lot on Sunday night. And there's no doubt in my mind. Last guy you have to bring up, though, is Derwin James.
Absolutely.
I mean, Derwin James.
One of the best safeties of his generation.
100%. And there was a couple years pre-Harbaugh, I don't want to say he was disinterested, but he was kind of like the Quentin Nelson conversation we had. Like, yeah, he's still good, but he's not amongst the best.
He wasn't a destroyer of worlds. Yeah.
And I think Harbaugh really has him as the leader of the defense, the best defensive player. He's exactly like Kyle Hamilton with the Ravens. There's obvious Raven-Harbaugh connections here, as well as in Seattle. Seattle's head coach was defense coordinator with the Ravens.
Yes.
Well,
McDonald, right?
McDonald.
Yep.
Seattle trades up in the early second round for the South Carolina safety and Umare because these guys want the Hamilton, the Derwin, these 220-pound do-it-all dudes because they don't want to sub. They can do, if you need me to play deep middle, coach, I got it. If you need me to play blitz, I got it. I mean, they can do it all. I can
tackle well. I can cover well.
Yeah, and Derwin's playing as well as he ever has.
He's got an incredible skill set. He was an absolute monster at Florida State. I
think him and Ramsey are good Florida State buddies.
I think they are.
I'm not sure if they had to overlap.
I think they were there with Jameis Winston when those guys won a national championship. I'm pretty sure, if I'm remembering correctly.
Ramsey's a little older than James, but not by much. I mean, they both, I think, were 5-star defensive backs.
Oh, absolutely.
Massive standouts. Right.
Yeah. Derwin James is one of those guys he would be on the short list of like my favorite players to watch on other teams.
Yeah, right. He's another one. If you happen to walk down the field, I bet it's like, whoa.
Yes.
Yeah,
he's just
that guy.
Because the way that he moves at his size, the way that he hits people.
He never takes play off. He's aggressive as could be.
Yeah,
he's nasty.
Those are my favorite kind of safeties. The do-it-all, physical, can run as well too.
Yeah.
They're hard to find. There's not many of those guys coming off the assembly line.
No.
But he's
6'3" or something.
Yeah, he's certainly one of them. Good stuff there for a little 5-Star Friday for some individual names to watch. Speaking of Rob King, you'll laugh at this before we go to break. You were kind of picking my brain about what happens on the plane and these flights and that stuff. I can guarantee you when we get on the flight to fly home, I could tell you what Rob King will be doing. He'll be on his iPad watching Cincinnati Bengals tape.
Okay.
He's the consummate professional. It's why he's so good at his job.
It's funny you say that because Thursday he was, as we were filming, he was asking some of the people that are flying with him, Missi and whoever else on the video staff. He was asking them like, "Do you know we're going to have internet? Like, I still have one more Charger game I want to watch on the flight out there too. Like, I mean, so." And I'm sure on the way home he's thinking the same thing. Yeah.
Oh, we'll all be like eating our ice cream and trying to sleep, and he'll be pouring over.
Studying.
He'll be studying quizzing himself on the Bengals depth chart.
Yeah.
I mean, Matt, we were flying back from Dublin, and he was doing Browns breakdown stuff on the plane. And I'm like, dude, you realize that game's 13 days away? Like,
wow.
You got plenty of time. Why don't you just get some sleep and relax?
I was joking with him, too. I'm like, I'm only going to pronounce it or try to pronounce Tui Tagovailoa's name once. I'm like, that's your job. He's like, I got it. Yeah, he's saying it perfectly.
He absolutely is. He absolutely is. Good stuff. Gotta love our guy, Rob King, and his diligence certainly shows through on the broadcast without a doubt. There's your 5-Star Friday. When we come back on the other side, it's time to go around the NFL, give some thoughts on all these games happening, a big Week 10 slate across the league. We'll dive into it when we return. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson, it's The Drive on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Time to go around the NFL here on The Drive. It is getting close to Thanksgiving. The road is narrowing. We are in Week 10 of the NFL season here, and some important games across the National Football League. Of course, we all know, we discussed it very briefly. The Broncos won an ugly one last night, 10-7 over the Raiders for your Thursday night action. The Broncos sitting real pretty at 8-2 here heading into a long stretch before they play the Kansas City Chiefs. Matt, let's run the gambit of games here. Give some thoughts like we always do. Across the pond in Germany, yeah? The Falcons and the Colts. The Colts, tough loss to the Steelers. Now they have to go to Berlin. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm done. I promise. I'm sorry. Anywhere but Berlin. The Colts, 6.5-point favorites against the Falcons.
Yeah, I like the Colts here big. Now, overseas and Thursday nights, all weird games, like I don't know if I'd like bet on, but think about like Sauce Gardner's life. I mean, he
that's a great point.
He gets shipped to Indy a couple days ago, for 2 firsts. Probably didn't even think he was on the trade block. Meets all his buddies, and then he's like, let's go to Germany.
Let's go to Germany, yeah.
Right, like, all right, man. And it's probably just like, you have Drake London. That's all you got to do this week. It's a perfect team for them to play. They have a true number one. We're not going to mix up coverages. You just follow Drake around
That's actually a great call.
in Germany, which I think is perfect. We broke down the Colts to no end all last week, and corner was the one spot didn't think they were particularly good at. And I don't think the Steelers solved this offense. I think the Steelers played great, but I expect the Colts offense to be one of the best in the league going forward. And I just don't have a lot of faith in the Falcons right now, especially if London has at least a tough time.
A pedestrian day.
Yeah. London doesn't do well in Europe.
Oh.
There's some joke to be made there. Yeah.
London's calling for Sauce Gardner. He said he's just they tell him, they're like, Sauce, all you got to worry about this week, all you have to do, buddy, is follow Drake London. And he's like, all right, coach, got it. Then like Friday night tonight, like at the German beer hall, Drake London's in there and Sauce Gardner's just lurking over his shoulder as he drinks his Stein and his Lederhosen. Back to the United States, to the Windy City. We talked about a big one for the Chicago Bears. They are 5-3 and still with a lot to play for, hosting the New York Giants, who are one of those teams that feel like they're kind of on the brink of falling apart a little bit as well, too.
Yeah.
The Giants 0-5 away from home. Important to note as well, too. They have not won a single road game all season.
That adds up, yeah.
Chicago a 4.5-point favorite at home.
I don't love the spread, though. I mean, I think New York could keep it close. I think Chicago might be starting to feel themselves a little bit. I'm going to say that about New England, too. Like, I'm not sure as you're as good as you think you are type of situation. This league tends to knock you down a peg when you start to do pretty good things.
Yes, it does.
But I don't like where the Giants are at, and there could be more points in that than you think, though. Chicago's D is not great at all.
It's not.
Yeah, they're a high-scoring team.
I'm a little surprised the over/under in that's only 46.5. I would have thought
Really?
I would have thought that was going to be higher. I like Chicago to win, but I might take. I don't know. That 4.5 is a tricky number.
Yeah, I don't love the points.
I don't love the points because I think it's a close.
There's a couple
one.
games I love.
If it was 3.5, I'd be more leaning towards Chicago. If it was 5.5, I think I'd definitely take New York. That might be one that if you wanted to bet on, I'd just take the over 46.5 points.
Yeah, that does seem low.
Stay away from
I wonder
the money
if they're
line.
expecting weather or something.
That's a good
it's
point.
always like a slow track, and
Hey, don't call it the Windy City for nothing.
All right.
Down in Miami, South Beach, Hard Rock Stadium, which is nowhere near South Beach. The Bills in Miami, a place where it seems like they always struggle. But to be fair, that's typically early in the season when it's like 700 degrees and they've got to stand on that sideline in the sun. The Bills are 8.5-point road favorites down in Miami this weekend.
It's also a big number, but Miami's run defense is horrible, and boy, do the Bills run the ball well now.
They just traded Jalen Phillips too.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, they're a little depleted to say the least. That O-line is top notch. Cook is a tremendous running back.
He's great.
I don't think we've brought him up enough.
And you know what? I was just going to say, maybe yesterday when we were talking about candidates for Offensive Player of the Year, I don't think he'll win it, but we should have probably
not that far off.
We should have probably.
Right.
He's in the conversation.
Yeah, I mean he gets better every time I watch him.
He's impressive.
Yeah, and Bills D's been playing better. I mean, since they're bye, they've been really, really good.
Had a couple key injuries in that win against the Chiefs, but I think they'll be able to keep it humming. That is a big number, but I think I'd lay the points with Buffalo. I could see them winning by 10.
Yeah, and they tend to blow some teams out too.
They do. They have that tendency about them. A big one that all Steelers fans will be keeping an eye on Sunday afternoon in Minnesota. The Vikings host the Ravens. You remember that fun final hour of the shows that we had in Dublin with Marquise Pouncey?
Yeah, that was a blast.
And we were doing our best Freddie Mercury at Live Aid impersonation and getting the crowd all riled up.
Yeah.
I remember with Marquise, we said to the crowd, "How do we feel about teams who wear purple?" 300 people went, boo.
Now they're matching each other.
Now they're matching each other up, and Baltimore's a 4.5-point favorite in Minnesota.
That's an awful place to play. I think Minnesota wins.
I think they might. I'm definitely taking the points.
I'm definitely taking the points. I mean, I understand the Lamar factor is massive, and I have so much respect for that. But, man, I loved how Flores' defense played last week. The Vikes O-line's healthy finally. Aaron Jones is back in the mix. Mm-hmm. I don't love McCarthy, but he helped them a lot. He's made plays with his legs and was definitely the best quarterback play they've had in a while. I don't think it's a good time to play Minnesota in their building.
I agree with you on that. They're feeling good about themselves, and they know, like, we win this, we're back above 500. We got everything to play for.
And they could start to get back in the playoff picture quickly here. And I still think the Ravens have some fundamental issues.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't rush passer well, you know.
As good as Lamar is, they still have some issues, and they're still pretty banged up elsewhere.
They are. I think this is a very losable game for them. I'm jumping all over the points.
Matt, in what we could call maybe what's the opposite of the game of the season? The I don't want to call it the toilet bowl. Okay, that's just me.
I think the Saints play the Jets in a week or two.
Well, the Jets host the Browns.
It's not much better.
It's just not much better. I guess maybe it'd be like the Jets and the Titans at this point would be the true kind of battle of the bottom of the barrel here.
Without Quinnen, without Sauce, you know.
Lord, the Jets 1-7. They are 0-5 at home, though. Still haven't won at MetLife. They host the Browns. Okay, so the Jets haven't won a home game. The Browns haven't won a road game. Something has to give, Matt, unless they end up tying. Cleveland a 2.5-point favorite there at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey.
It's amazing that the Browns are about a field goal
on the road.
Or favored on the road against anybody.
I think
I'm taking the Browns.
I think I would take the Browns too, and I'd lay those points.
Yeah, I mean, they may win 10-9, and you lose the bet. But.
You talked a lot about this leading into that season-opening game where Dallas went to Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And I think you even said on the Wednesday show, what's the morale like on the Cowboys plane when they all get on the plane to fly to Philly to face the defending champions, and they look around and they go, our best player's not here anymore.
Where's Micah?
Where's Micah?
Exactly.
Like, what's that do to your morale? You're the Jets, and you get to that locker room on Sunday, and you're like, "Where's Sauce? Where's Quinnen?" These guys are humans. As much as we think athletes are robots, these guys are humans.
They know what the organization's thinking, and
that
1,000%.
has to just be demoralizing.
Right, and I thought Cleveland might move Njoku or Judy or somebody, and they didn't. I mean, I'm sure the defense will still be playing their best and all that. You know, the defense is by far the best unit in this game.
It's solid. It's very good. In fact, it's more than solid.
Yeah.
And I'm with you. It is kind of surprising that the Browns are a road favorite against anybody.
Right.
But I'll take them to win this one by at least 3 points. I think that is certainly doable. Matt, along with Ravens, Vikings, a couple really interesting games in the 1 o'clock window, actually. I'm excited to kind of roll out of bed and watch these at what will be 10 a.m. California time. Patriots and Bucks. 7-2 versus 6-2. This one's down in Tampa. Tampa's come back to life a little bit since their hot start to the season.
Coming off a bye right now, too, which I think is helpful for them.
The Patriots, maybe other than Denver, are the hottest team in the NFL right now. Do they come back to life a little bit this week?
I think they get knocked down a peg here.
How's this one play out? Tampa, 2.5-point favorites at home, so it's a close spread.
New England doesn't run the ball well. Tampa is really hard to run on with Vita Vea in the middle there. And I think Bowles will – I love May. You know I love May. But Bowles is going to throw stuff at him he hasn't
guy
seen.
Myself, but
okay.
Sorry, that was
bad.
worse than my charged up for the Chargers joke to start the show.
I just think Bowles throws a ton at him, a young quarterback. And sometimes you just look at these teams and like, boy, the Patriots are really out kicking their coverage. But this league has a way of just knocking you back down a peg.
You said that a few minutes ago,
yeah.
And I completely agree with you. It happened to the Colts this past Sunday.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Tampa's good on the offensive side of the ball. And I think, the New England defense is fine, don't get me wrong. But Mayfield coming off a bye, some of these guys like Wirfs that were injured, I'm sure they're happy about the bye,
My buddies, I've got some buddies that are, got some degenerate tendencies.
Mm-hmm.
And every Sunday morning I get a text from them. What lines do you like today? Tell me what the bet on today.
Yeah.
Tampa minus 2.5 is going to be high on that list of lines that I like. I think off of a bye week.
Vikes are high on that list.
Yes, Minnesota getting the points is going to be high on that list too. But this one, off the bye week, I think Tampa is primed for a solid performance. I think the Patriots are kind of in that spot where you said it feels like maybe they'll take a little bit of a step back.
Yeah.
I'll lay the 2.5 with Tampa.
Yeah, 4 steps forward, 1 step back.
Sure, they're still going to be in a great spot.
That's great.
And I don't think they're going to go down there and embarrass themselves or anything.
No.
But I think the Bucs will win. Saints are in Charlotte to take on the Panthers. The Panthers at 5-4, talking about a surprise team that we didn't think would have much to play for, but they do. Matt, this one is intriguing to me because it is the only game all week that has a lower over-under is Jets-Browns. Okay?
No, that adds up.
This is the second lowest over-under of the week. Just 38.5 points is the over-under. But the Panthers are favored by 5.5.
Which is another one. It's kind of like the Browns. Like, should you really be favored by 5.5?
Usually when you see an over-under that small, the money line is tight.
It doesn't leave the room to do both.
Right. I'm surprised by that because I do think Carolina has been a positive story and a positive surprise in the NFL this year.
Yes.
But the divisional games there in the NFC South are always wonky. It's like weird stuff happens in that division all the time. I think the Panthers win, but 5.5 is a big number.
You're taking the points.
I think I'm going to take the points with the Saints. I don't like that one. That'd be
I
another one I'd
know.
stay away from. In fact, I might hit the over on that number.
Yeah. I never think of them having a great home field advantage either in Carolina. They just run on everybody right now. I think I'm going to take the Panthers. The Saints have a lesser version of that Sauce, Quinn, and Micah conversation we just had too. Like, you just dumped, you're obviously not in it to win it. It's got to be some good mojo going around Carolina right now, too. I mean, they're out kicking their coverage. But I don't feel strong about that game, but I'll take Carolina.
Carolina right now is the overweight, chubby guy with a receding hairline sitting at the bar with somebody that is way out of his league.
I forget what show I was doing the other day, and they're like, man, I thought Tampa Bay would have control of this division by now, but Carolina's right in it. I'm like, not for long. Give it 2 weeks, you won't have that conversation.
Last one of the 1 o'clock games, Matt, and it's another, again, some really intriguing ones in this 1 o'clock slate. In Houston, a big one between the Texans and the Jags. The Jags looking to stay at kind of the forefront of the wild card conversation. Houston looking to keep their season on life support without C.J. Stroud. Jacksonville, a 1.5-point favorite deep in the heart of Texas.
I'm not a huge Jags believer, but without Stroud and still massive O-line problems, I'm a little shocked that that's not a bigger line.
Me too.
Yeah. Houston's D is great. They definitely can keep this in close, and if it's a real low-scoring game, I understand the small line. And Mills isn't the worst backup in the world, but still, it's like, I think this is the end for the Texans.
I think so, too. I would lay those points with Jacksonville. I know home dogs are always dangerous.
I know. Division home dogs in particular.
Especially.
Yeah.
But this feels like the Sunday where it starts to go downhill for the Houston Texans, unfortunately. Into the 4 o'clock slate of games.
Total coincidence, but my phone just lit up and said, Brian Thomas Jr. will miss Sunday's game against the Houston Texans.
Well, that's not good for Jacksonville.
Yeah, right. I mean, they just traded for Myers. I assume they saw that coming.
Yeah.
Right.
Travis Hunter's still out, correct?
He's on IR.
He's on IR.
Yeah, but probably short term.
Might be a good week to have Jacoby Myers on your fantasy team.
Yeah, I guess throw him right in the mix.
Into the 4 o'clock slate, out west, Seahawks host the Cardinals. Matt, is this a little rat poison? Seattle, I realize 6.5. That's not nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But Seattle, I feel weird saying only a 6.5 point favorite when it's a touchdown. But
yeah.
That's one of the ones that I would have thought would be more like 8.5 for Seattle.
I thought the same thing. I just think they're way better.
Way better.
And I wonder if that line reflects. A lot of people watched Arizona-Dallas and they didn't go back to Murray. That Arizona's got it all figured out. And I like Brissett a lot.
It is a divisional game too. Weird stuff happens.
I just think playing against Dallas's defense is a lot different than playing against Seattle's defense.
Boy, is it ever.
Yeah, I'm taking Seattle there.
I think so too. That's what the Nick Saban line of rat poison, that's like I told you last week. I was like, that Falcons. How are the Patriots only favored by 5 against the Falcons? That feels like rat poison.
Mm-hmm.
The Falcons score 10 points late to cover.
Yeah, and that could be the case.
That could be the case here, but I don't know. That to me feels like it should be more like 8.5 Seattle. So I will lay the points with the Seahawks to win that one by at least a touchdown against Arizona.
I like Seattle better when they're on the road though.
Totally,
which is wild.
Destroyer of worlds. They're 2-2 at home, 4-0 on the road, Seattle. Another one out there in the NFC West, another important one for playoff positioning here in November. The 6-3 Niners host the 6-2 Rams, the Battle of California. The Rams are a 4.5 point favorite.
I'm taking the Rams very reluctantly. I just think they're way better than the Niners. I think Niners are a little inflated.
And they were a few weeks ago when they played on Thursday night, but the Niners won.
Niners won, right.
Weird things happen on Thursday night.
Shanahan beats McVay a lot, more often than the other way around. And there's something to it. There's a little bit of Ravens-Steelers feel to that game. And I've made that comparison with my co-host, Brian Peacock, who does the Niners. And I'm like, do you think it's smart, BP, to just take the points in this game no matter what? And he's like, yep. And that's what, if I pick Ravens Steelers, it could be 2031.
Yeah,
just give me the points. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. Just give me the points. It's going to be close.
2003 or 2043.
Right. It's going to be close. These teams know each other too well. Nobody's going to blow out the other. But I am taking the Rams, and I'm going against everything I just said because I think Stafford's way better, and I think the Rams just don't have any weaknesses right now.
We kind of keep waiting for that shoe to drop for the Niners.
I know.
Maybe this is the week.
Just keep losing players left and right.
I give Shanahan all the credit in the world, man,
Big
for what
time.
he's done this year, but eventually that attrition wears you down.
Yeah.
4.5. I'd like it more if it was 3.5, maybe 2.5, but I'm with you.
It's in San Fran, right?
It's in Santa Clara, yes.
Yeah. Well, I guess the Steelers are using the building on Sunday anyway.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. I'm with you on that one. Wouldn't shock me if the Niners win, but I think the Rams. I think it's their turn.
I think the Rams can win the Super Bowl.
Return the favor. I do too.
Yeah,
I do too. And finally, Matt, before we take a break and get to our final thoughts on Steelers-Chargers, the Commanders at home in a tough spot.
We'll save the Monday nighter to Monday. Huh?
We'll save the Monday nighter.
That's a great game too.
Packers, Eagles, baby. Heck yeah. Commanders hosting the Lions, a beat up, kind of downtrodden Commanders team. A Lions team that's kind of, by their standards, coming off an embarrassing performance.
Mm-hmm.
Detroit, 7.5 point favorite on the road.
I don't know if you saw, but Washington did get some good news about Daniels, that it's not as bad as originally thought.
Good.
I don't think he needs. He's going to be out for a while,
Sure.
but it's not. I don't think he needs surgery. It's not as bad as originally thought.
Good. I'm glad to hear that.
And me too. I was like, he went that guy back out there. I still think they're a wounded animal, though. And actually, the Lions are the wounded animal. And the way they're constructed, I just think that this is the type of game where they're going to be pissed with how they played, embarrassed. Not that, it wasn't an embarrassing loss. The Vikings aren't bad. But they just seem to respond to these games by winning by 20 the next week.
Yes. That's what they do.
That's what they do, right. Jahmyr Gibbs has 180 yards after having nothing last week.
It was a long night at home on, was it Sunday Night Football last week when the Seahawks went in there? Or was it Monday night? I can't remember if that game was Sunday or Monday.
Right, yeah.
But regardless,
it was ugly.
It was a long night for the Commanders last week at home. I think this is going to be a long one for them again. I mean, Seattle and Detroit back-to-back, two physical, beat-you-up defenses.
That's a good point.
I don't think this one's going to be pretty for the Commanders.
I don't think you're going to have like McLaurin. You're not going to have Jaden Daniels.
It's a big number, but that might be another one of my picks that I send my buddies is Detroit -7.5.
I lean that way,
especially if
too.
you could tease it down with something else to 5.5.
Under 7.
Yeah, get it under 7. Seems like a really smart play. That's it for our Around the NFL every Friday segment here. Just one game left to talk about, the Steelers and the Chargers in prime time. We'll give our thoughts and our predictions on that one before we get up out of here on the other side. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson, it is The Drive on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Segment here on a Friday. We have got to get to our final predictions between Steelers and Chargers. But Matt, it's been a couple weeks. I always forget to ask you this, and I will not forget today. Before we get to the line and our predictions and our score predictions and final thoughts and all that, simple question for you. Excuse me as I burp some coffee up here.
Nice.
The Steelers win if, the Steelers lose if.
The lose I was going to open with is we might come back here on Monday.
That's what you always like.
I do that a lot too.
To
and be like, man, that Justin Herbert dude's good.
Maybe you didn't win the turnover battle and Herbert made enough plays.
Right. Like he picked you apart. Just when you thought you had him, he escaped and had that 30-yard run that broke your back. And, man, he spread the ball around and you couldn't quite get to him.
He converted a 3rd and 14 with his legs in a key moment or something like that.
I kind of feel like if they win, he's the MVP. And we all just go, man, we lost to a really good quarterback, and that's been there. I mean, that's brutal. And I could also see the Steelers running game struggling too, like not getting a lot of rhythm on offense, not getting that running game going, getting away from it a little bit, and then Herbert beats you. That's how I think you could lose it. But to cut to the chase, I'm picking the Steelers to win. I'm picking them to win 28-20.
Oh, gosh, we're not far off again.
Really?
These last couple of weeks, we've been almost spot on.
Did I ever tell you this? Didn't
you guys have a stretch of like 5 or 6 straight weeks where you picked the same score?
It was like 7 or 8. We had to. I had to like write down my score
to prove,
and we weren't even like on video back then. And I'd be like, I'd show it to him, and the one time he like spit out his Diet Coke. He's like, that's my exact same score. And I have it proof, like we would do it beforehand.
That's hilarious.
It was unbelievable. We were the exact same score for like 7 or 8 weeks in a row. It was nuts.
We haven't had the same one, but we've been like
a
couple points off. You said 26-20?
I did 28-20.
28-20. I'm going 27-20 Steelers.
Okay.
So we are just about.
And it's not like we're just like picking it right off the spread. The Steelers are dogs. That doesn't match the. If this wasn't the Steelers segment, this would be one of my favorite bets of the week. Like, you're going to give me points and what's basically going to be a home game away from home.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's a terrible time, or a great time from this perspective, to play the Chargers. All about the O-line.
Completely agree.
Yeah, I just think they're really not able to block people.
We talk about how the ebbs and flows of that. Sometimes you get teams at the wrong time.
Yes.
Sometimes you get them at the right time, and I do feel like they're getting the Chargers at the best time you could be getting them right now.
Yeah.
As they are just trying to patchwork, throw that offensive line together, and when you're coming off the just wrecking ball performance that your defense had last week as well too.
Yeah, and you and Missi had a good point too about if crowd noise can actually work to your advantage. Like, those tackles have never heard Herbert's cadence or know any of that kind of stuff. And the communication with O-line is so important. None of those dudes have played together, let alone they're just not as good as TJ and Highsmith and Cam. And,
Correct.
You know what I mean? They're just overmatched physically. But the mental and communication stuff, I think, could be really tough on them. And I'm sure Harbaugh will have some – I wouldn't shock me if he, like, fakes a punt or, does something goofy. But I also keep coming back to that graph that I posted about turnovers and special teams are such in the Steelers' favor too. I think that's enough.
And in a close game like this, that quite often ends up being the difference. Yeah, my Steelers lose if they're not at least even in the turnover battle.
Sure.
And
we can say that just about every week, without question,
And they let Herbert run wild.
Mm-hmm. Herbert has been turning the ball over, and turnovers aren't real friendly to this team either.
Another way they could lose is if the Chargers possess the ball for 36, 37 minutes.
That's actually my biggest concern. I should have kind of opened with that too, along with Herbert being awesome. But if they're real physical with those big, heavy packages, and the Steelers are 3 and out, and the Steelers D starts to look like, oh, we let up a lot of yardage, and maybe make big plays, maybe not, that would worry me. I mean, yeah.
I also think turnover differential, obviously a big one. Steelers winning the sack differential again, I think would go a long way.
I'll be shocked if they don't.
I'll be shocked if they don't.
Yeah.
And it's so funny. I'll give a shout out to, his name's Jordan. He's my oldest daughter, Olivia.
Mm-hmm.
Our daughters go to daycare together.
Oh, okay. So he's a dad.
He's a dad.
Yeah.
And his daughter and my daughter are like besties. And he's a Steelers diehard. He has season tickets. And so every time we see each other dropping off the kids or picking up the kids, he's always picking my brain, right?
Oh, I'm sure he's happy to see you.
I like talking to him. He likes talking to me type thing. He's a good dude. He's actually on a flight right now to L.A. to go out there for the weekend and go to the game. And I saw him this morning, and he's like, I'm just worried. He's like, we should absolutely dominate that offensive line, which makes me think we won't.
Yeah, of course. And I get that way of thinking. I mean, we do all this analysis, and we don't know. Yeah, we don't know.
That's why we love football so much.
Yeah.
That's why we all gather around on
right.
Sunday and spend 12 hours sitting on the couch.
But it's a mess of a line.
It is.
It really is.
Playing this team
to the point where I feel bad for them.
Playing this team in week 2 or week 3 versus now is a world of difference. It's a complete 180.
And you never should do this, but schedule release, I'm like, I'd probably take the Chargers in that game. Even though I knew it was going to be a ton of Steeler fans back in July when but still, it's like, they're a pretty solid team.
If they're completely healthy, they're an offense that is built to neutralize what the Steelers do well on defense.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Slater and Alt. And you can
put those guys on an island.
Right. They can probably handle TJ by himself. Right.
Yeah, but that is not the case. And hopefully the Steelers will take advantage. And I'll be low on sleep, but not grumpy when we're back here to break down
that'd be great.
A victory Monday. And, man, if the Steelers move to 6-3, get a little help from the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, now you're talking.
I get by with a little help from my friends, and we could be in a good position on Monday. But regardless of what happens, Matt, win, lose, or draw, we will be back here Monday to break it down for everybody on Steelers Nation Radio. For Missi Matthews, kind enough to give us some of her time, big thank you to her. Of course, to our video producer, Tyler V, Mr. TV, for making us look handsome on the YouTube, and young Nathan in here training and learning the ropes. He's Matt Williamson. I'm Wes Uhler. Enjoy the weekend, everybody. If you are one of those West Coast Steelers fans or traveling Steelers fans, make sure you make some noise and raise
you got a part in this.
Raise some HE double hockey sticks there at SoFi Stadium and have those guys on a silent count at home and help demoralize that Chargers offense and offensive line. And we'll be back here on Monday to break it all down. As always, you know where to find us. It's on your 24/7 home of the black and gold. Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network.